On a cold, rainy night inside a small grocery store, a Hells Angels biker was being judged and looked down on because he didn't have enough money to buy a can of milk for his child. Just as he was about to leave, a homeless man stepped forward and handed him his last $8. No one knew that moment had been recorded and that it would spread across social media. Only a few days later, more than 300 bikers showed up, giving that man a completely new life. Before we dive deeper into this story, tell me where you're listening from, and don't forget to subscribe so I can share more heartwarming stories with you tomorrow. The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry wasps. 11:45 on a Tuesday night in Thompson's Mart smelled like stale coffee and floor cleaner. Rain hammered the windows, turning the parking lot into a mirror of orange streetlights. Daniel Carter stood near the magazine rack, hands wrapped around a paper cup. The coffee had gone cold 2 hours ago, but he kept holding it, gave him a reason to be there, made him look like a customer instead of what he really was, a man with nowhere else to go. At 58, Daniel had mastered the art of being invisible. Jacket torn at the shoulder, jeans so faded they were almost white at the knees. He kept his eyes down, his movements small. 12 years on the streets taught you that. Don't take up space. Don't make noise. Don't give people a reason to notice you. But tonight, he was noticing something. The mountain of a man at the checkout counter was getting loud. Ryan Mitchell stood 6'5", easy, 280 pounds of leather and muscle. The Hells Angels patch stretched across, his back faded from years of highway, wind. Tattoos crawled up both arms, skulls, flames, things that made mothers pull their kids closer. His basket sat on the counter. Bread, milk, canned soup, baby formula. Come on, man. Ryan's voice cracked just slightly. Just try it one more time. Emily Rodriguez, the cashier, couldn't have been older than 23. Her hand shook as she swiped the card again. Her name tag sat crooked on her green polo. Beep. Red light. I'm sorry, sir, but it's still declining. Emily's finger hovered near something under the counter. Do you have another form of payment? Ryan's jaw tightened. He dug through his wallet, pulling out crumpled bills. His thick fingers fumbled with loose change. 125013. Damn it. He looked up at Emily. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cold air. I'm short $825. Behind him, the line was growing. A woman in blue scrubs clutched her purse tighter against her chest. An elderly man with a newspaper muttered something under his breath just loud enough to carry. Those people. Daniel's chest tightened. He knew that tone. Knew it. Like an old scar that still AHD when it rained near the frozen foods. Someone whispered, he's probably stealing. The whisper spread. Quick, poisonous. Look at him. Call security. Did you see that? Patch Hells Angels? They're criminals. Emily glanced toward the back office. Her manager was counting register, receipts, oblivious. Her finger moved, closer to the panic button. I need to call my no, please. Ryan's voice dropped. For just a second, the tough biker facade cracked completely. Look, I'll put something back. Keep the formula. My daughter needs it. She's 18 months old. She needs it. His hands, massive and scarred from years of garage work, carefully separated the baby formula from the rest. He pushed the can forward like it was made of glass. Just this, please. The woman in scrubs spoke up loud enough for everyone to hear. Probably spent all his money on drugs, someone else, or alcohol. The elderly man should have thought about his kid before joining a gang. Daniel watched. Ryan's shoulders hunch. Watched him shrink even though he was the biggest person in the store. Daniel had seen that body language before, in mirrors, in reflections of store windows. The posture of someone being erased while still standing there. Ryan's throat bobbed. I have a job. Mitchell's Auto Repair. The card should work. Sir, I really need to call my manager. Emily's voice shook. The store felt smaller, hotter. The buzz of the fluorescent lights grew louder. Daniel looked down at his coffee cup, then at the 8 crumpled dollar bills in his jacket pocket. 5 days of collecting aluminum cans. 5 days of walking the streets until his feet bled in his worn-out boots. He'd been saving up for cold medicine. The cough that kept him awake at night was getting worse. $8 wasn't much, but it was everything he had. He looked at Ryan again, saw the way the big man's hands trembled as he clutched his wallet, saw the desperation in his eyes. The same desperation Daniel had felt 12 years ago when his own world collapsed. Someone in line pulled out their phone, started recording. "This is going on Facebook." A teenager snickered. That's when Daniel moved. His legs felt stiff as he walked forward. 12 years of sleeping on cardboard didn't do knees any favors. The line parted slightly, people stepping back like he carried disease. He reached into his jacket. The 8 bills were damp from the rain that had soaked through hours ago, soft as tissue paper from being folded and unfolded too many times. Without a word, Daniel placed the money on the counter next to Ryan's basket. The store went silent. Even the fluorescent light seemed to stop buzzing. Ryan stared at the money, then at Daniel. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. I can't." "You can." Daniel's voice was quiet but steady, weathered by years of talking to empty streets. "Take it." Emily's eyes darted between them. The panic button, forgotten. Behind them, the line had stopped shuffling. Phones were raised. Everyone was watching now. Ryan tried to push the money back. "No, man, you don't understand. I'll pay you back, but I don't need you to." Daniel turned, faced the crowd of 15 people, staring at him like he was performing some kind of street magic. His heart hammered. 12 years of staying invisible, and now he was standing in the brightest lights in the store. But something inside him, something he thought had died a long time ago, was waking up. "You look at him," Daniel said, his voice carrying to every corner of Thompson's mart. "And you see trouble because of the leather, because of the patch." Ryan stood frozen behind him. "You look at me and see worthless because I don't have a home, because my clothes are dirty." "Heh." The woman in scrubs looked at her shoes. "But how many of you would empty your pockets for a stranger?" Silence. "How many of you cross the street when you see me coming? How many times do you push people down just so you can feel like you're standing taller?" The elderly man stopped, muttering. The teenager lowered his phone. Daniel picked up Ryan's basket. His hands didn't shake anymore. He handed it to Emily. "Ring him up." Emily nodded slowly, hands steadier now. She scanned the items one by one. The beeps echoed in the quiet store. Daniel didn't wait for a thank you. He turned and walked toward the automatic doors. They wheezed open, letting in a blast of cold, wet October air. He'd made it 3 steps into the parking lot when he heard boots pounding behind him. "Hey, wait." Ryan caught up, clutching the plastic bag like it contained gold instead of groceries. Rain soaked through both their clothes in seconds. "Why?" Ryan's voice was rough, thick with something he hadn't felt in years. "You don't even know me." Daniel stopped under a yellow streetlight. Water dripped from his hair into his eyes. He looked tired, so damn tired because somebody should have done the same for me once. They stood there, 2 men the world had written off. Rain falling, the neon open, sign of Thompson's mart flickering. Behind them, Ryan shifted the bag to his other hand, leather jacket creaking. "I'm Ryan." "Daniel." Ryan dug into his wallet, pulled out a business card worn soft at the edges. "Mitchell's Auto Repair." "It's not much," but he pressed it into Daniel's hand. "If you ever need anything at all." Daniel looked at the card, felt its weight. Such a small thing. "Thank you." Ryan climbed onto his bike, a battered Harley that had seen better decades. The engine coughed to life like an old dog waking up. "Daniel," Ryan called over the rumble, "that thing you said in there about somebody should have done the same for you. What happened?" Daniel folded the business card carefully, slipped it into his jacket pocket right next to the empty space where $8 used to be. "Long story. Maybe you'll tell me sometime." "Maybe." Ryan's taillights disappeared into the rain. Daniel stood alone in the parking lot, soaked to the bone, broke, exhausted. But for the first time in 12 years, he felt like he'd done something that mattered. Daniel walked back to his spot behind Thompson's mart, cardboard still dry under the overhang. Small victories. He lay down, jacket pulled tight. The rain had stopped, but the cold hadn't. His ribs ached. Everything ached these days. Sleep didn't come easy. It never did. Instead, memories came. Uninvited, relentless. 25 years ago, Carter's Hardware sat on the corner of Oak and 5th in Portland, a squat brick building with big windows that caught the morning sun. The smell of sawdust and possibility hung in the air like a promise. Daniel had been 33 then, young, strong, hopeful. Daniel, Mrs. Wilson's, hear about those porch planks. Jennifer, his wife, dark hair, always tied back, pencil behind her ear, running numbers, at the counter like she was conducting an orchestra. She'd taken a small hardware store and turned it into something special. Tell her I'll load them myself. No charge for delivery. Daniel, we can't keep giving away delivery. We can when it's Mrs. Wilson. She's 82 and lives alone. Jennifer had smiled that smile, the one that meant she disagreed but loved him anyway. That was the thing about Carter's Hardware. It wasn't just a business. It was a heartbeat, a place where neighbors came for nails and stayed for conversation. When the church needed materials for their community center, Daniel gave them cost. When the Henderson kid broke a basement window with a baseball, Daniel cut the glass himself and helped install it. Accidents happened to good kids. People trusted him. That was worth more than money. Michael, their 10-year-old son, would sit behind the counter after school, pretending to run the register, making change for imaginary customers. Dad, when I grow up, I'm going to run this place. You bet you will, buddy. God, those were good days. Winter 2010, everything changed. The shipment arrived on a Tuesday. $45,000 worth of premium power tools from a distributor in Chicago. Cordless drills, circular saws, sanders, the good stuff contractors loved. Daniel signed the delivery receipt, helped the driver unload 12 boxes, locked up at 9:00 p.m. Like always, Wednesday morning, he opened the back door at 6 a.m. Half the boxes were gone. No broken locks, no shattered windows, no signs of forced entry, just gone. Daniel stood in the storage room, staring at empty shelves. His coffee mug slipped from his hand, shattered on concrete. No. He called the police. Officer Martinez came, took notes, looked sympathetic, but skeptical. No signs of break-in. Who has keys? Just me and Jennifer and my assistant manager, Tom. Security, cameras. They've been broken for 2 days. I was waiting on parts to fix them. Officer Martinez wrote that down. His pen scratched loudly in the quiet storage room. Mr. Carter, I got to ask, insurance current. Of course it is. Why? Daniel stopped, felt ice in his stomach. You think I did this? I'm not saying that, but insurance companies will ask. When there's no forced entry, they look at inside jobs first. Inside job? I built this business from nothing. I would never. Like I said, I'm not accusing you, just telling you how it works. But Daniel heard it in his tone. The doubt, the suspicion. It was just the beginning. The insurance adjuster came 3 days later, a thin man with glasses named Richard Piton. He walked the storage room with a clipboard, clicking his pen. Mr. Carter, you're saying 45,000 inches merchandise vanished overnight with no evidence of break-in. That's what I'm saying because that's what happened. And your cameras were conveniently broken. Not conveniently. They broke. I was getting parts from Cascade Security Supply. I can show you the order. And who knew about this shipment? My distributor. Me, Jennifer, Tom. Piton wrote something. Interesting. Timing. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Mr. Carter. Just doing my job. 2 weeks later, the claim was denied. Insufficient evidence of theft. Indicators suggest possible fraud. Daniel read the letter 5 times. Each word felt like a fist. Fraud. They thought he stole from himself. Calming. The whispers started small at Riverside, coffee shop where contractors met for morning breakfast. Heard Carter's got some trouble. Insurance won't pay out. Why not? Think about it. No break-in. Who else could it be? At First Methodist, church where Daniel and Jennifer attended every Sunday. Such a shame about the Carters. I heard he's got gambling debts. Poker, maybe. Oh my. And they seem so nice. On the Portland community Facebook page, someone posted, "Warning, think twice before shopping at Carter's Hardware. Heard they're under investigation for insurance fraud. Not the kind of business I want to support." The post got 47 shares. Daniel tried to fight back, hired a lawyer. He couldn't afford $800 just for a consultation. Mr. Carter, without evidence of who took the merchandise, you're in a difficult position. The police haven't found anything. The insurance company has closed the case. My advice? Move on. Move on. This is my reputation. I understand, but proving a negative is nearly impossible. You can't prove you didn't steal from yourself. 3 months later, the customer stopped coming. Not all at once. That would have been easier, somehow, cleaner. Instead, it was a slow bleed. Regular contractors started going to Home Depot, just closer. Nothing personal. Mrs. Wilson still came, but she looked uncomfortable, apologetic. Daniel, dear, I'm so sorry, but my son thinks I should shop elsewhere. He saw something on Facebook. The bank froze his line of credit. Until this matter is resolved, we can't extend further. What matter? I didn't do anything, Mr. Carter. We have to protect our interests. Suppliers demanded cash. Up front. No more net 30 terms. No more. Relationships built over 15 years. Sorry, Daniel. Company policy changed. Policy right. Jennifer tried to hold it together. She worked the numbers every night, cutting costs, negotiating, fighting. But you can't fight gossip with spreadsheets. One night, Daniel found her crying in the office. Books spread out, calculator, red ink, everywhere. We're done, she whispered. We can't make payroll next week. Daniel put his head in his hands. 20 years of work, gone. 6 months after the theft, the bank foreclosed. Big orange notice on the front door. Carter's Hardware, closed permanently. Daniel stood outside, staring at the building. His father had bought it in 1975, passed it to him in 1998. 3 generations of honest work, ended by whispers. 1 year later, Jennifer sat at their kitchen table, suitcases by the door. Michael was already in the car. I can't do this anymore, Daniel. Jen, please. I still believe you. Tears ran down her face. I do, but I can't watch you disappear. You barely eat. You barely sleep. You're fading. I'm trying to clear my name. If I can just find what... It's been a year. The police stopped investigating. The insurance case is closed. Everyone in this town thinks you're a fraud. I'm not. I know. Her voice broke. But knowing doesn't pay the mortgage. It doesn't keep Michael in school. My sister has a job for me in Ohio, a place we can stay. Ohio, come with us. We can start over. New city, new life. Daniel looked at his hands, calloused from years of good work. Now, useless. If I leave, everyone will think I ran because I'm guilty. And if you stay, you'll die here slowly, alone. She kissed him at the front door, soft, final. I love you, but I have to protect our son. The door closed. The car pulled away. Daniel stood in their foreclosed house 3 days from eviction and felt something inside him break. Not snap, not shatter, just quietly break. 12 years. 12 years of sleeping in his car until it got repossessed. 12 years of shelters that smelled like bleach and despair. 12 years of people crossing the street, of store owners asking him to move along, of police telling him loitering was illegal. 12 years of becoming invisible. He'd tried calling Jennifer the first year. She'd answered once. Daniel Michael's doing well. He's on the basketball team. He asks about you. Tell him I love him. I do every day. Can I talk to him? Long silence. He's not ready yet. I'm sorry. She stopped answering after that. He didn't blame her. Now lying on cardboard behind Thompson's Mart, Daniel touched the business card in his pocket. Mitchell's Auto Repair. Ryan's face when he'd put down that $8. The shock, the disbelief, the gratitude. Daniel had been on the other side of that equation once. Noun. The one who needed help. The one drowning while people watched. Nobody had thrown him a rope. But tonight, for $8, he'd thrown one to someone else. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all you could do in this world. Help the next person. Hope someone down the line would do the same. His eyes closed. Sleep came, and, for the first time in 12 years, Daniel Carter slept without dreaming of everything he'd lost. But it seems like we've missed something. Back at the supermarket, A car is parked outside. Chloe Martinez sat in the back seat of her mother's Toyota phone, gripped in both hands. Her mom was still inside, the hospital finishing her night shift, wouldn't be out for another 20 minutes. She'd been scrolling TikTok, bored out of her mind, when she'd looked up and seen it happen through the rain-streaked window. The homeless man, the biker, $8. Her hands had been shaking so hard she almost dropped her phone while recording, but she got it, got all of it. The confrontation, the crowd's judgment, that moment when the old man in the torn jacket stepped forward like he was stepping into fire. Now the video sat in her drafts. 19 years old, sophomore at Portland State, and she'd filmed something that made her chest hurt. She watched it again. The audio was muffled from being inside the car, but you could hear everything. The whispers, the accusations, and then that voice, weathered quiet, but somehow filling the whole store. How many of you would empty your pockets for a stranger? Chloe's throat tightened. She'd been one of those people once, seen a homeless woman outside Starbucks and walked past. Everyone did it. It was easier. But this man hadn't walked past. She opened the caption box, fingers hovering. What do you even say about something like this? She typed, "Homeless man uses his last $8 to pay for stranger's groceries after. Store accuses him of stealing. This is what humanity looks like." Her thumb hesitated over post. What if people said it was fake, staged? What if they came after her for filming without permission? But that voice in the video, that moment, the world needed to see this. She pressed post. 12:38 a.m. Then she locked her phone and shoved it in her pocket, heart racing like she'd just done something dangerous. 6 a.m. Chloe's phone alarm went off. She slapped it silent, rolled over, grabbed it to check the time. 372 notifications. What the hell? She opened TikTok. The video had 15,000 views. Comments flooding in faster than she could read them. "I'm crying at work right now. This restored my faith in humanity. That man is a hero. Fake. Totally staged. Who cares if it's staged? The message is real. Does anyone know who he is?" Her heart hammered. She sat up in bed, scrolling. The view count was climbing. 16,000. 17,000. She refreshed. 22,000. Oh my God. Noon. Chloe was supposed to be in her economics lecture. Instead, she sat in the student union staring at her phone like it had become a living thing. 500,000 views. Trending number 3 in Portland. Trending number 7 in Oregon. The video had jumped platforms. She was getting tagged on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. Threads were analyzing every frame. The way the biker's hands shake when he's trying to count money. That's real desperation. That homeless man has more dignity than everyone in that store combined. I found the location. Thompson's Mart on Morrison Street in Portland. Someone please find these men. They deserve recognition. The negative comments were there too. Loud, aggressive, obviously fake. Homeless. People don't just have $8 laying around. The biker probably stole that money anyway. Two criminals helping each other. Great. But for every cruel comment, 20 more pushback. My father was homeless. He gave his last dollar to buy my sister diapers. This is real. My brother is a biker. Hell's Angels. Most generous man I know. Stop judging. I used to walk past homeless people every day. Not anymore. This changed me. Chloe's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Chloe Martinez, the one who posted the video from Thompson's Mart? Yes. This is Dana Wright from Portland Tribune. I'd love to interview you about Chloe. Hung up, hands shaking. This was getting too big. 6 p.m. Chloe's phone was dying from constant use. She'd plugged it in at a coffee shop, bought nothing, just sat there, watching the view count climb. 3.2 million views, trending number 1 nationally. CNN had picked it up. Fox News local stations were running the story. Viral video shows homeless man's act of kindness. Someone had enhanced the audio, cleaned it up. Now you could hear every word Daniel said crystal clear. How many times do you push people down just so you can feel like you're standing taller? That line was everywhere. Screenshots, quote, tweets, memes, art. Someone had painted it on a wall in downtown Portland. The comment section had become a war zone and a church service all at once. This is propaganda. This is beautiful. Homeless. People are scammers. My mom was homeless, and she was the kindest person alive. Bikers are dangerous criminals. My uncle is a biker, and he volunteers at children's hospitals. People were fighting, crying, sharing their own stories. I was homeless for 3 years. A stranger bought me lunch once. I never forgot. Now I'm a social worker. I judged a man in a store once. He was buying formula with food stamps. I made a comment. His wife was in the hospital. I think about it every day. I saw a biker broken down on the highway. Everyone drove past. I stopped. He helped me change my tire a year later. Didn't recognize me, but I recognized him. The video had cracked something open, something raw and real that people had been keeping buried. Chloe read every comment she could. Some made her cry. Some made her angry. All of them made her realize she'd captured something bigger than a moment. She'd captured a mirror, and people didn't like what they saw. But some people were starting to change. 9:00 p.m. Chloe's mom came home from her hospital shift exhausted, and Mom found Chloe still on her phone in the living room. "Mija, you've been on that thing all day." "Mom, the video. It's at 5 million views." Her mother sat down. Chloe showed her the numbers, the comments, the news coverage. Her mom watched the video. Tears ran down her face. "That man, he has nothing, and he gave everything. I know you did good filming this. People are saying it's fake, that I staged it for views." Her mother cooped Chloe's face. "Let them talk. You showed the world something true, something it needed to see." Midnight. The video hit 10 million views. International news outlets were picking it up. BBC, Al Jazeera. It was being shared across the globe. Comments pouring in from every continent. "This is what real humanity looks like. The world needs more people like him." This made me cry. Sending love from Japan. Watching from Germany. "Beautiful Brazil here. This is incredible." Somewhere in the cascade of comments, someone posted an address. "I think I found him. The homeless man. He sleeps behind Thompson's Mart. I've seen him there." Another comment. "Someone should help him. After what he did, he deserves help." Another. "We should start a GoFundMe." Another. "Better idea. Let's find out what happened to him, why he's homeless. Maybe we can fix it." And then, buried in the threads, a comment that would change everything. "I know the biker. That's Ryan Reaper Mitchell from the Portland Hells Angels chapter. I'm sending this to my president. Big Dog needs to see this." The comment had 300 likes. One of them was from an account called Big Dog Hells Angels PNW, active 20 minutes ago, 3 a.m., Seattle, Washington, 200 meters north of Portland. Marcus Big Dog Thompson sat in the clubhouse phone in his massive hand, 6'5", 250 pounds of muscle and gray beard. President of the Pacific Northwest, Hells Angels, 55 years old, and he'd seen everything. But he'd never seen anything like this video. He'd watched it 4 times now. Each time his chest got tighter. Ryan Mitchell, one of his brothers, standing in a store being treated like trash, begging to buy milk for his daughter, and some homeless man, nobody, nothing, invisible, stepping up when everyone else stepped back. Big Dog's jaw clenched around him. The clubhouse was quiet. Clenched at 3 a.m. Just him and the ghosts of 1,000 rides. He opened his contacts, started texting. "Church meeting, emergency, 6 a.m. Code red, all officers present, no excuses." One by one, the responses came in. "Copy that, boss. I'll be there. What's going on?" Big Dog didn't answer the questions, just sent one more text. Then he sent the video and waited. The replies came faster. "Holy, Auntie, that's Ryan. Who's the old guy? That homeless man is more of a brother than most people I know." Big Dog typed slowly, 2 thick fingers on a phone screen. "Meeting is about respect and what we do when someone shows respect to our family." He put the phone down, stared at the wall, covered in photos, brothers who died, brothers who'd moved on, patches from chapters across the country. Brotherhood wasn't just a word, it was a code. And someone had just honored that code in a way that cut straight to the bone. Big Dog stood, walked to the back office, opened the safe, pulled out the chapter, ledger, and the emergency fund. He started making calculations. By the time the sun came up, he'd have a plan. By the time his brothers arrived, he'd have a mission. And by the time they rolled out 300 motorcycles strong, Daniel Carter's life would never be the same again. The video kept climbing. 15 million views, 20 million, 50 million. And in the darkness behind Thompson's Mart, Daniel Carter slept on cardboard, completely unaware that the world had just decided he was worth saving. 6 a.m. sharp. The clubhouse door slammed open. 80 pairs of boots hit the concrete floor over the next 10 minutes. Leather vests, patches from Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, men who'd ridden through the night on Big Dog's orders. Nobody questioned code red. The room smelled like motor oil, cigarettes, and old leather. A good smell, a brotherhood smell. Big Dog stood at the front near the projector screen, arms crossed, face like stone. Sit down, all of you. Chairs scraped. Men settled. The room went quiet except for the hum of the ancient refrigerator in the corner. Big Dog picked up the remote, hit play. The video filled the screen. Thompson's Mart, Ryan at the checkout. The decline card. The whispers. The crowd closing in like wolves. Then Daniel stepping forward, placing 8 crumpled bills on the counter. The room was silent as a grave. When Daniel turned to face the crowd, when his voice filled the store, how many of you would empty your pockets for a stranger? Someone in the back whispered, "Damn." The video ended. Big Dog let the silence sit for a full 30 seconds. Let it sink in. Let it burn. That he finally said, his voice low and controlled. "Is Ryan Mitchell, Portland, Chapter 1 of ours?" Heads nodded. They all knew Ryan. Good mechanic, solid, brother, quiet guy who loved his kid more than life. Standing in that store, begging, being treated like garbage. Because of this, Big Dog tapped his own Hell's Angels patch because of what we wear, what we represent. The anger in the room was palpable now. Men shifting in their seats, jaws tight. That woman clutching her purse. That old man muttering. Those whispers about calling security. Big Dog's voice rose. Every single one of us has been there. Every one of us knows what it feels like to walk into a store and watch people lock their car doors, cross the street, grab their kids. "Damn right," someone muttered, and then Big Dog pointed at the screen frozen on Daniel's face. This man, this homeless man with nothing, and I mean nothing, steps up. He played it again, just that part. Daniel placing the money down. "I've got it." He didn't know Ryan. Didn't know us. It didn't know if Ryan was dangerous or kind or anything. Big Dog's voice cracked slightly. He just saw a man being judged for his appearance, and he said, "No." The room erupted in agreement. Fists on, tables. "Hell yeah, that's real. That's family." Big Dog raised his hand. Silence fell immediately. This man, Daniel Carter, he saw past the patch to the person underneath. Big Dog's eyes swept the room. How many civilians have done that for any of you? How many times has someone defended you when the world wanted to tear you down? Silence. Exactly. And Big Dog nodded. "Brothers, we talk about respect, about brotherhood, about family." He tapped the screen. "This man showed more respect to our family than most blood relatives ever have." Jake Hammer Williams, Sergeant at Arms, stood up, 6'3" arms, like tree trunks. "So, what do we do, boss?" Big Dog smiled. Not a friendly smile. A purposeful one. "We show respect." Back. The room exploded in agreement, engines revving in verbal form. Big Dog pulled up his phone, connected it to the projector, started scrolling through what he'd found. "I spent the last 3 hours digging. Ryan gave me some info. I found the rest." Images flashed on screen. Daniel Carter, 58 years old, used to own Carter's Hardware right here in Portland. A photo appeared. A brick, building, warm lights. A sign. Carter's Hardware. Honest work, fair price, good neighbors, beautiful spot, someone said. Was Big Dog's voice went hard. Winter, 2010, 45,000 inches, merchandise stolen. No, forced entry. Insurance denied the claim. Said it looked like fraud. He pulled up news articles, Facebook posts, comments, sections full of venom. Town turned on him, said he stole from himself, gambling debts, insurance scam, all lies, but mud sticks. Big Dog's jaw clenched. Lost his business, lost his house, wife left, took his kid to Ohio. Daniel's been homeless ever since. Wife. The room went cold. 12 years, Big Dog continued. 12 years sleeping on streets. And you know what happened 3 nights ago? He pulled up another image. The same lot where Carter's Hardware used to be. Empty now. Weeds growing through. Cracked pavement. A for sale sign. Still empty. Still for sale. Like a wound that never healed. Tommy Wrench Morrison Road. Captain leaned forward. What's the asking price? Big Dog grinned. 180,000. Wrench whistled. That's steep. Not for 80 brothers. Big Dog pulled out his phone. I already talked to the club. Accountant. We got 60,000 inches. The emergency fund. If every brother here kicks in 1,500, we're there. The room went still. 1,500 wasn't pocket change. That was rent, groceries, bike repairs. But then Jake stood up. I'm in. Another voice. Me, too. Count me in. Hell yeah. Within 60 seconds, all 80 men were standing, fists raised. Big Dog felt something tight in his chest loosen. This was why he loved these men. We're not just buying him land, Big Dog said. We're giving him back what they stole. His name, his reputation, his life. He pulled up the building plans he'd sketched at 4 a.m. Rough, hand-drawn, but clear. We built him a new Carter's Hardware right there on that lot. Same spot, same name. Big Dog's voice was iron, and we do it fast. 3 days. We call in every favor, every brother who's a carpenter, electrician, plumber. We work in shifts, round the clock. When do we start? Someone shouted, Saturday morning. Dawn. Big Dog looked around the room. But first, we need to spread the word. I want 300 riders, not 80. 300. Wrench pulled out his phone. I'll call Eugene. Chapter 1. Got Spokane. Another voice called Boise owes us a favor. Sacramento will ride for this. Phones came out across the room, a symphony of calls and texts. Big Dog watched it happen, watched his brothers become an army. Within 20 minutes, the confirmation started rolling in. Eugene, 40 riders were in. Spokane, 35 confirmed, leaving Friday night. Boise, 28 bikes. What time you want us there? Sacramento, 50 strong. This is beautiful, Big Dog. The numbers kept climbing. By 7 a.m., they had commitments for 280 riders. We're 20 short, Jake said. Big Dog's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered this. Big Dog Thompson, who's asking? Name's Carl Bishop, Nevada chapter president. Saw the video. Heard what you're planning. Pause. We're sending 25. Big Dog closed his eyes. Nevada's 800 miles. We ride fast. We'll be there Saturday morning, brother. That man defended one of ours. Distance doesn't matter. The line went dead. Big Dog looked at his men. 305. The clubhouse erupted. Cheers, fist, pumping. The kind of energy that could move mountains. Big Dog held up his hand. Again. Quiet returned. Now, we need to be smart about this. He pulled up a new screen. Property records. Ryan's already contacted the seller. We're buying the lot cash. Closing is happening Friday afternoon. Fast-tracked. Legal? Someone asked. Completely. I got our lawyer handling it. 300 signatures on the deed. Every writer who contributes becomes a partial owner. Big Dog smiled. Daniel, Carter won't be able to refuse. This isn't charity. It's justice. It's family. He pulled up the next slide. A list of materials. Lumber, concrete, electrical, plumbing, tools. We need donations. I've already reached out to every lumberyard hardware store and supplier in Oregon. Told them the story. Most are cutting us deals. Some are donating outright. His phone buzzed. He checked it, smiled. Cascade Lumber just pledged 10,000 inches materials free. Another buzz. Portland Electric Supply, 8,000 inches wiring and fixtures. No charge. The room started chanting. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Big Dog let them have their moment. Then he raised his hand one more time. Last thing, when we roll into Portland Saturday morning, we do it right. Formation, colors flying. We're not there to intimidate. We're there to honor. Understood. Understood. Ryan's leading the pack. He's the one who got helped. He gets to be the one Who brings the army? What about the homeless guy? Jake asked. Daniel, know any of this is happening? Big Dog shook his head. Not yet. Ryan's going to reach out to him Friday. Make sure he's there. Saturday morning. What if he refuses? He won't. Big Dog's voice was certain because Ryan's going to tell him the truth. That 300 brothers want to say thank you, and you don't refuse family. The meeting was wrapping up. Men, standing, stretching, already planning their rides. But Big Dog had one more thing. Brothers, listen. They all turned. This isn't about us feeling good. This isn't about publicity or going viral or any of that. He pointed at Daniel's face on the screen. This is about a man who lost everything because people believed lies, who spent 12 years invisible, and who still found it in himself to help a stranger. His voice went quiet. Dangerous. That's the kind of man we protect. That's the kind of man we honor. Because if we don't stand up for people like Daniel Carter, then what the hell are we doing? Silence, profound and complete. We ride, Saturday, dawn, 305 strong. Big Dog's eyes were fierce. And when we're done, Daniel Carter will have his life back, his store back, his name back. He slammed his fist on the table. That's brotherhood. That's what we do. The room exploded in agreement. Bikes outside started roaring to life, men hugging, planning. The energy was electric. Big Dog watched them go one by one until it was just him and the empty clubhouse. He looked at the frozen frame on the screen. Daniel Carter, worn jacket, weathered face, eyes that had seen too much pain. We're coming for you, old man, Big Dog whispered, and we're bringing everything you lost. He turned off the projector, walked outside. The sun was rising over Seattle. Friday was tomorrow. Saturday was the day. 305. Motorcycles. One mission, one man worth saving. Big Dog pulled out his phone, texted Ryan. It's happening. Tell him, Friday night, be ready Saturday dawn. Bring tissues. He's going to need them. Ryan's response came back immediately. Thank you, brother. This means everything. Big Dog smiled. That's what family does. He climbed on his bike, kicked it to life. The engine roared like a promise. 2 days. In 2 days, Portland was going to witness something it would never forget. And Daniel Carter's life was about to change. Forever. Saturday morning, 6:45 a.m., Daniel woke to the sound of distant thunder. He blinked awake on his cardboard bed behind Thompson's Mart. The sky was clear. No clouds, no storm coming, but the rumble was getting louder. He sat up slowly. His back screamed in protest. 58 years old, and sleeping on concrete didn't do bodies any favors. He rubbed his eyes, reached for the bottle of water he'd filled at the gas station yesterday. The rumble grew deeper now, rhythmic, not thunder. Engines. Daniel stood brushing bits of cardboard off his jacket. The sound was coming from the west, getting closer. His chest tightened. Motorcycles, a lot of them. His first thought was trouble. Bikers meant noise complaints. Noise complaints meant police. The police meant he'd get told to move along again. He grabbed his backpack. Everything he owned fit inside and prepared to disappear into the morning. But then, the first bike rounded the corner onto Morrison Street, chrome gleaming in the early sun. Black leather. Hell's Angels. Patch. Then another bike. Then 10 more. Then 50. They kept coming. Daniel stood, frozen backpack halfway to his shoulder. His brain couldn't process what his eyes were seeing. The street was filling with motorcycles, a river of steel and leather flowing toward him. The sound was overwhelming now, a mechanical symphony that made windows rattle and car alarms sing. What the hell? People poured out of houses, doors opening up and down the block. A woman in a bathrobe stood on her porch, hand over her mouth. A man in pajamas grabbed his kid, pulled him back inside. Someone yelled, "Call the cops!" But the bikes weren't stopping for trouble. They were stopping for him. The lead bike pulled up 15 feet away. Engine cut. Silence rushed in like a vacuum. Ryan Mitchell pulled off his helmet, grinned like the sun. "Morning, brother." Daniel's mouth opened, closed. No words came. Behind Ryan, more bikes pulled up, formed rows, precise, organized patches from chapters. Daniel didn't even know existed. Seattle, Eugene, Boise, Sacramento, Nevada. A mountain of a man dismounted from the second bike, 6'5", gray beard, presence like gravity. He walked toward Daniel with slow, deliberate steps. Daniel Carter. Daniel managed a nod. His throat was too dry to speak. Name's Marcus Thompson. Brothers call me Big Dog. He extended a hand the size of a dinner plate. I'm president of the Pacific Northwest Hells Angels. Daniel shook it. His own hand disappeared inside Big Dog's grip. I don't understand. Big Dog smiled. Not threatening. Warm. Almost paternal. We saw what you did. The video. Ryan stepped up, phone in hand, pulled up tick, talk, showed Daniel the screen. Daniel stared. Saw himself in Thompson's mart. Saw the moment he'd put down $8. He saw his own face, saying those words to the crowd. 50 million views, Ryan said quietly. 50 million people saw you stand up for me. Daniel's legs felt weak. 50 million, brother, you're famous. Big Dog's voice was gentle. But more than that, you did something nobody else would. You saw past the leather to the man. You stood between Ryan and a mob when everyone else wanted blood. By now, the 300 bikes had formed a semicircle in the parking lot and street. 300 men, standing beside their machines. Silent, respectful, police sirens wailed in the distance. We don't have much time before cops show up asking questions, Big Dog said, so I'm going to make this quick. He reached into his vest, pulled out a manila envelope, thick, official looking. We found out about you, Daniel, about Carter's hardware, about what happened 12 years ago. Daniel's chest went tight. That's old news. Not to us, it isn't. Big Dog's eyes were fierce. You got destroyed by rumors, lost everything because people believed lies, spent 12 years invisible because this town threw you away like garbage. Daniel looked at his feet. Shame burned in his gut. We can't give you back the 12 years they stole, Big Dog continued. But we can give you this. He opened the envelope, pulled out a document, handed it to Daniel. Property, deed, legal, notarized. Daniel's hands shook as he read. Oak and Fifth. That's where my store was. Still is. Ryan stepped closer. Or will be. We bought the lot. Closed on it yesterday. Cash. Daniel looked up. You bought? Why? Because you're family now. Big Dog's voice was iron wrapped in velvet. And family doesn't let family sleep on. Cardboard. He gestured to the paper. Look at the signatures. Daniel flipped. Pages. Signature after signature. 305 names. Hells Angels chapters from 7 states. We all own a piece, Big Dog explained, which means you can't refuse it. This isn't charity, Daniel. This is justice. Daniel's vision blurred. He tried to speak, but his throat closed. Up. We're building you a new Carter's hardware, Ryan said. Starting today. Right now. Same spot where the old one stood. A pickup truck rumbled around the corner. Then another. Then a flatbed, loaded with lumber. Then a cement mixer. We got 300 brothers here. Big Dog continued. Carpenters, electricians, plumbers, welders. We got supplies donated from half the businesses in Oregon. And we got 3 days. 3 days. Daniel's voice cracked. To build your store, get you back on your feet, give you back what they took. The police. Cars arrived. 4 of them. Officers got out, hands near their belts assessing the situation. Big Dog didn't even turn around. We're legal. Private property. Permitted construction. They can run all the checks they want. One officer approached. Young, nervous. We got calls about a disturbance. No disturbance, officer. Big Dog's voice was respectful, but firm. Just a community project. We'll be working here for the next 3 days. Building a store for a good man. You're welcome to supervise if you'd like. The officer looked at Daniel at the 300 bikers at the trucks loaded with materials. This is about that video, isn't it? The homeless guy who helped the biker. That's him. Big Dog pointed at Daniel. And yeah, this is about respect. The officer's expression softened. My mom showed me that video. Made her cry. He looked at Daniel. Sir, what they did to you 12 years ago was wrong. About damn time. Someone made it right. He tipped his hat, walked back to his car. The police stayed, but at a distance, observing, not interfering. Daniel stood holding the deed. His entire body was shaking. I can't. I don't deserve this. Big Dog put a massive hand on Daniel's shoulder. Brother, you gave your last $8 to a stranger. You stood up when everyone else sat down. You defended one of ours when the world wanted to destroy him. His grip tightened. If that doesn't deserve honor, nothing does. Ryan pulled out another item from his saddlebag. A leather vest. Black, worn soft with age. But the patches were new. Hell's Angels, honorary member across the top. Below it, in white stitching. Family forever. We don't give these out lightly, Big Dog said. You earned it. Daniel took the vest. It was warm from Ryan's bike, heavy with meaning. Put it on, Ryan urged. Daniel's hands trembled as he slipped his arms through. The vest settled on his shoulders like a promise, like armor, like belonging. It fit perfectly. 300 men began to clap, slow at first, then building. Then engines started roaring the biker salute. The sound rolled through the morning like a wave. Neighbors who'd come outside to watch started clapping too. The woman in the bathrobe had tears on her face. The man with the kid put his boy down, let him clap along. Daniel stood in the center of it all, wearing leather he'd never imagined wearing, surrounded by men he'd never met, but who'd ridden through the night for him. He couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Big Dog leaned in close. You're not invisible anymore, brother. You're seen. You're valued. Your family. Daniel's tears came then. 12 years of holding everything inside. 12 years of being nothing, being no one. And in one moment, everything changed. Thank you, he whispered. I can't. You don't have to say anything. Big Dog squeezed his shoulder. Just let us do this. Let us give you what you gave Ryan, a second chance. Ryan stepped forward. Hug, Daniel. The big biker's arms wrapped around the homeless man like a shield. You saved me in that store, Ryan whispered. Now let us save you. Daniel buried his face in Ryan's shoulder and sobbed. The 300 men stood silent, respectful, letting him have his moment. When Daniel finally pulled back, wiping his eyes with the sleeve of his new vest, Big Dog handed him a tool belt, leather worn, heavy with tools. This was mine when I was young, Big Dog said. Now it's yours, because you're not watching this happen, brother. You're building it with us. Daniel strapped the belt on, felt the weight of hammers and measuring tape, tools he hadn't held in 12 years. His hands remembered. Where do we start? Daniel's voice was stronger now. Big Dog grinned. Foundation team, you're up, fring. Crew, get ready. Electrical plumbing, you know your jobs. The 300 men moved like a machine. Bikes parked in, formation, tools unloaded, materials distributed, teams forming. Someone handed Daniel a hammer. He looked at it, felt its weight, felt 12 years of absence in his palm. Then he walked toward the empty lot where Carter's hardware used to stand. The morning sun climbed higher. The sound of hammers and saws began to fill the air. And Daniel, Carter, for the first time in 12 years, started building something that mattered. Around him, 300 brothers worked, and the whole neighborhood watched a miracle unfold. Big Dog stood in the center of the lot, blueprint in, one massive handbull horn in the other. His voice carried across the organized chaos like a conductor leading an orchestra. Foundation crew, we need that. Concrete poured by noon. Framing team, measure twice. Cut once, we're not wasting materials. Daniel stood near the edge, hammer in hand, watching 300 men move with military precision. His brain still couldn't process it. Yesterday, he was nobody. Today, he was at the center of the biggest thing Portland had seen in years. Ryan appeared beside him, carrying a stack of 2X4S on one shoulder, like they weighed nothing. You good, brother. Daniel touched the vest he was wearing. The honorary member patch felt surreal under his fingers. I don't know what I am. Your family, that's all that matters. Ryan set the lumber down. Come on, Big Dog wants to show you something before we really get started. Table. They walked to where Big Dog stood beside a makeshift table. 2 sawhorses and a sheet of plywood. Spread across it was a hand-drawn sketch. Daniel leaned in, his breath caught. It was Carter's hardware, not exactly like the original, but close enough to make his heart ache. Same basic shape, same big windows facing the street. Even the placement of the door matched his memory. We found old photos online, Big Dog explained. Newspaper, articles from when you first opened, tried to keep it as true to your vision as possible. Daniel's throat tightened. You researched me. Damn right we did. Big Dog pointed to different sections of the sketch. Foundations going in now. Walls will frame up by tonight. Roof, tomorrow. Interior work Sunday. Monday morning, you'll have a hardware store. That's impossible. Watch us. Big Dog, raise the bullhorn. Listen up. Before we break ground, this man needs to understand what's happening here. The noise died. 300 men stopped working, turned, gave Daniel their full attention. Big Dog gestured for Daniel to stand beside him. Daniel's legs felt like water. I can't. You can. Ryan pushed him gently forward. Daniel stood on a milk crate someone produced. Suddenly, he was visible to everyone. 300 faces looking at him, waiting. Big Dog's voice boomed. This is Daniel Carter. 12 years ago, this town destroyed him with lies, took his business, took his family, took his dignity. Murmurs of anger rippled through the crowd. 3 nights ago, he had $8 to his name. That was it. $8 between him and nothing. Big Dog paused. Let that sink in. And when he saw our brother Ryan getting torn apart by a crowd, what did he do? Silence. He gave it all away. The silence grew heavier. He didn't know Ryan, didn't know us, didn't know if Ryan was dangerous or kind or anything in between. Big Dog's voice rose. He just saw a man being judged by his appearance, being treated like trash because of what he wore. And he said, no. Someone in the crowd shouted, that's brotherhood. Others echoed, damn right, real family. Big Dog held up his hand. Quiet returned. Daniel stood up when everyone else sat down. He saw past the patch to the person. He gave respect when the world was giving hate. Big Dog turned to Daniel. Brother, we can't give you back the 12 years they stole. We can't undo the pain, but we can give you this. He pulled the deed from his vest again, held it up for everyone to see. This land is yours, bought and paid for. 305 of us are co-owners, which means you can't refuse it. Big Dog's eyes were fierce. This isn't charity, Daniel. This is justice. The crowd erupted. Engines revved. Fists pumped. Daniel's vision blurred. He tried to speak, but no words came. Ryan stepped up beside him. From unfolded another piece of paper, a blueprint more detailed than the sketch. We didn't just buy you land, Ryan said, his voice carrying across the lot. We're building you a store. Carter's Hardware too. Same name, same mission, honest work, fair prices, good neighbors. He pointed to the blueprint. We've got carpenters, electricians, plumbers. We've got donated materials from 15 companies. We've got food trucks coming to feed everyone. We've got why? Daniel's voice cracked. Why me? The lot went silent. Ryan looked at him. Really? Looked at him. Because somebody should have done this for you 12 years ago, and nobody did. Ryan's eyes were wet. Because you lost everything, and you're still standing, still human, still willing to help a stranger. He put his hand on Daniel's shoulder. Because when I stood in that store, humiliated, broke, desperate, you saw me, not the leather, not the patch, not the stereotype. Ryan's voice broke. You saw me, the man, the father trying to feed his kid. Tears ran down his scarred face. Nobody's seen me in 20 years. Everyone just sees the biker, the criminal, the threat. He squeezed Daniel's shoulder. But you saw a dad who needed help, and you helped without hesitation. Daniel wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. You gave me dignity when the world wanted to take it, Ryan continued. So now we're giving you back what they took from you, your store, your name, your honor. The crowd erupted again, louder this time, 300 voices shouting agreement. Big Dog raised the bullhorn. Brothers, when someone shows respect to our family, what do we do? Respect them back. And the response shook windows. When someone stands up for one of ours, what do we do? Stand up for them. When someone gives everything for nothing in return, what do we do? Give everything back. The chant started low at first, then building. Daniel, Daniel, Daniel. Daniel stood on that milk crate surrounded by thunder and felt something he hadn't felt in 12 years. He felt like he mattered. Big Dog put a massive arm around his shoulders. "You're not homeless anymore, brother. You're not invisible. You're not forgotten." He gestured to the 300 men. "Your family, and we take care of family." Someone handed Big Dog a vest. Not just any vest, the original Hells Angels vest, but modified. On the back below, the standard patches, someone had sewn custom words, "Honorary Brother, the man who stood." Big Dog held it up for everyone to see. "This goes in our clubhouse," he announced, next to the photos of fallen brothers, because Daniel Carter didn't die, but he fell, and we're here to lift him back up. The roar of approval was deafening. Daniel's knees buckled. Ryan caught him, held him steady. "It's real, brother," Ryan whispered. "This is really happening." Big Dog raised his voice one more time. "All right, enough speeches. We've got 3 days and a whole lot of work." He pointed at the empty lot. Let's build this man his life back." The 300 men exploded into action. Cement mixers roared to life. Saws buzzed. Hammers rang out like a steel symphony. The foundation team moved first, setting up forms, checking levels, preparing the ground. Daniel stood in the middle of it all, vest on his shoulders, tool belt around his waist, watching his past and future collide. A young biker, couldn't have been older than 25, approached with a hard hat. "Mr. Carter, I'm Jake. I'm on framing crew." Big Dog says, "You're working foundation with us." I haven't done construction in 12 years. Jake grinned. "It's like riding a bike, but with more concrete." He led Daniel to where the foundation crew was working. 10 men, all business, all moving with purpose. One of them looked up. Older guy, maybe 60, with hands that had clearly seen decades of hard work. "You, the boss man?" Daniel blinked. "Boss man, this is your store. That makes you the boss." The man extended a weathered hand. "Name's Chuck. I've been laying concrete for 40 years. Tell me where you want this foundation and how you want it done." Daniel stared. "You're asking me. It's your dream we're building, not ours." Chuck smiled. "So, where do you want the entrance facing east to catch? Morning light west for afternoon sun?" Daniel's hands trembled as he looked at the empty lot. He closed his eyes, remembered east. The original caught morning sun made the whole place feel warm when customers came in. "East it is." Chuck turned to his crew. "You heard the man. East, facing entrance. Let's mark it." And just like that, Daniel was building again. He knelt beside Chuck, helping mark the foundation lines with spray paint. His knees protested. 12 years of sleeping on concrete took its toll, but his hands remembered the work. "Measure twice," Daniel muttered, the old habit returning. "Cut once." Chuck finished grinning. "You really did this for a living, huh? 20 years before." Daniel trailed off. "Before people believed lies instead of truth." Chuck's voice was gentle. "I know the story. We all do. Video's got 60 million views now. Everyone knows what happened to you." Daniel looked up sharply. 60 million and climbing. "You're internet famous, old man." Chuck clapped him on the back. "But more than that, you're a reminder. A reminder that one good act can change everything." They worked in comfortable silence for a while. The foundation forms went up. Other crew members brought rebar wire, mesh preparing for the concrete pour. Around them, the lot transformed. What had been empty weed-choked land was becoming something, becoming purpose, becoming hope. A food truck rolled up around 9 a.m. Taco stand. The owner, a heavy-set man in his 52nds, got out and immediately started setting up. "Everything's free," he called out. "You boys are doing something beautiful. Least I can do is feed you." Then came a coffee truck. Then someone with cases of water. Then a local bakery dropped off 100 pastries. The community was waking up, and they were joining in. Mrs. Helen Foster, the 82-year-old woman who lived across the street, came out with 2 pictures of iced tea. Daniel saw her and froze. Mrs. Foster had been one of his regular customers, bought flower seeds every spring, and after the rumors started, she'd stopped coming, stopped waving, stopped acknowledging him. She walked straight to Daniel, set the pictures down. "Daniel Carter, Mrs. Foster." She looked at him for a long moment. Then slowly she reached out and touched his face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Daniel's breath caught. "I believed them. The rumors. The lies. I stopped shopping at your store because I was scared of what people would think." Tears rolled down her wrinkled cheeks. I was a coward and you paid the price." "Mrs. Foster." "No, let me finish." She gripped his hands. "I saw you sleeping behind that store. I saw you, and I looked away, walked past like you were invisible." Her voice broke. "You sold me flower seeds for 10 years. You fixed my porch steps for free when they rotted, and I abandoned you." She pulled something from her pocket, a faded photograph. It was Daniel and his father standing in front of Carter's Hardware on opening day, 1998, both men grinning at the camera. "I kept this," Mrs. Foster said, "from a newspaper article. Kept it because I knew deep down you were a good man. But I was too afraid to stand up and say it." She pressed the photo into his hand. "Your father would be proud of who you are. Not what you lost, but who you remain despite losing everything." She touched his vest. "And I'm honored to have you back in this neighborhood." Daniel couldn't speak, just pulled the old woman into a hug while she cried against his chest. When they separated, Mrs. Foster wiped her eyes and straightened her back. "Now, I'm going to make sure every person on this block knows you're back, and anyone who has a problem with it will answer to me." And she marched off pictures, forgotten on a mission. Chuck watched her go. "She's got fire, that one." "Always did," Daniel said, quietly, looking at the photo. His father's face smiled back at him. "Young, hopeful, proud. For you, Dad," Daniel whispered. Then he picked up his hammer and got back to work. By noon, the foundation was poured. By 2 p.m., it was setting. By 4:00 p.m., the framing crew was ready to start on the walls, and Daniel Carter, wearing his honorary brother vest, worked alongside 300 men who decided he was worth saving. The sun climbed higher, the store began to rise, and somewhere 60 million people watched. Updates flood social media as the miracle of Morrison Street unfolded in real time. The sun was high when Emily Rodriguez arrived. She parked her beat up Honda across the street, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight her knuckles went white. Her mother sat in the passenger seat, a stack of foil-covered trays balanced on her lap. "Mija, you need to do this." "I know, Mama. Just Emily's voice shook. "I just don't know if I can face him." Her mother touched her cheek. "The longer you wait, the heavier it gets. Trust me." Emily took a deep breath, nodded. They got out of the car. The scene across the street looked like organized chaos. 300 bikers working like a machine. The skeleton of a building already taking shape. The sound of hammers and saws creating a rhythm that made the whole block feel alive. Emily spotted him immediately. Daniel Carter, wearing a Hells Angels vest tool belt around his waist, helping lift a wall frame into place. He looked different, stood taller, moved with purpose. She almost turned around, almost got back in the car, but her mother's hand pressed against her back. "Go." Emily crossed the street, her mother following with the food. With each step, the guilt got heavier. She'd watched this man get judged 4 nights ago, watched him stand up, watched him defend someone when everyone else wanted blood, and she'd done nothing, said nothing, just hovered her finger over a panic button and waited for it to be over. The framing crew was taking a water break when she approached. Daniel was drinking from a bottle, sweat soaking through his shirt despite the cool October air. "Mr. Carter." He turned, recognized her instantly. "Emily from the store." "Yes, sir." Her voice was barely a whisper. I talk to you, please?" Daniel set down his water. "Of course." They walked a few steps away from the crew. Emily's mother stayed back, giving them space, but watching protectively. "Mr. Carter, I need to apologize." The words came out in a rush. That night, at the store, when everyone was saying things about Mr. Mitchell, when they wanted me to call security, her eyes filled with tears. "I should have stood up for him, for you, for what was right, but I just stood there." Daniel's expression softened. "Emily, no, please, let me finish." She wiped her eyes. I've seen you behind the store lots of times, when I take out the trash, when I come in early for shifts. You sleep there." Daniel nodded slowly. "I do, and I never said hello, never asked if you needed anything, never even looked at you." The tears came harder now. "I walked past you, like you were invisible, like you weren't even human." Her voice broke. "That night, watching you put down your last $8 for a stranger, watching you stand up to that crowd." She looked at her feet. "I realized I was one of them, one of the people judging, one of the people who made you invisible. You were doing your job." "No." Emily's voice was firm despite the tears. "My job was to ring up groceries. My humanity was to see you, to see Mr. Mitchell, to stand up." She finally met his eyes. "I failed at the second part, and I'm so sorry." Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Then, gently, he put his hand on her shoulder. "Emily, you're 23 years old, working a night shift at a convenience store. You were scared. You were alone. You did what you thought you had to do to stay safe." His voice was kind. "I don't blame you for that, but I blame me." She shook her head. "I want to be better. I want to be like you, like me. Someone who stands up, someone who sees people." She took a shaky breath. "That's why I'm here. I brought food. My mom made tamales for the workers, and I wanted to tell you." She straightened her shoulders. "I start community college next semester, social work program, because of you, because watching you changed something in me." Daniel's throat tightened. "Emily, you don't have to." I do have to." Her voice was stronger now, "because silence makes us complicit. I learned that from you." Her mother approached with the trays. "Mr. Carter, I'm Maria Rodriguez, Emily's mother." She set the food down on a nearby table. "We brought lunch. It's not much, but it's everything," Daniel said. "Thank you." Maria touched his hand. "What my daughter is trying to say is that you reminded us what it means to be human, to see each other, to help without asking for anything back." She smiled. "That's a gift." Emily hugged Daniel suddenly, fiercely. He stood stiff for a moment, unused to contact, then slowly wrapped his arms around her. "Thank you for standing up," she whispered, "even when no one else did." When she pulled back, she was smiling through tears. "I'll come visit when the store opens. I'll be your first customer. I'd like that." Mother and daughter walked back toward their car, but Emily turned one more time. "Mr. Carter, you're not invisible anymore." She got in the car and drove away. Daniel stood there, chest tight, watching them go. Ryan appeared at his elbow. "That was beautiful, brother." She didn't need to apologize. Maybe not, but she needed to say it. Ryan clapped his back, and you needed to hear it. The tamales were devoured by the framing crew within 20 minutes, but Emily's apology lingered much longer. Around 100 p.m., a black Lexus pulled up. A man in his 50s got out wearing khakis and a polo shirt. He looked nervous, out of place. Tom Bradley, manager of Thompson's Mart. Daniel was measuring lumber when Tom approached, holding a manila envelope like it might explode. Daniel Carter." Daniel looked up, recognized him from the store. "Mr. Bradley." "Tom, please." He shifted his weight. "Can we talk?" They walked to the edge of the lot. Tom couldn't meet Daniel's eyes. "I'm not good at this," Tom started, "but I need to say it anyway." He held out the envelope. "This is $2,000, security deposit and first month's rent for a space in my store." Daniel stared at the envelope, didn't take it. "I don't understand. There's a corner near the back, maybe 20 by 20 feet. Tom finally looked at him. "I want you to sell hardware there, small stuff, screws, nails, basic tools, whatever you want, Tom. I knew you slept behind my store. I've known for years." Tom's voice cracked, and I did nothing. I told myself it wasn't my problem, that if I acknowledged you, I'd have to do something, so I just ignored you. He thrust the envelope forward again. 12 years I watched you back there. 12 years. I stepped over you like you were trash." His eyes were wet. "That night, watching you stand up for that biker, watching you give away your last dollar." He shook his head. I realized I'm a coward. And you're a hero. Daniel took the envelope, slowly. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Tom's voice was firm now. Because staying silent was wrong. Walking past was wrong. Pretending you didn't exist was wrong. He wiped his eyes. This doesn't fix it, but it's a start. He pulled out a business card, handed it to Daniel. When your store opens, you'll need suppliers. I've got connections, wholesalers, distributors. He managed a small smile. Let me help. Please, let me do something right. Daniel looked at the envelope at Tom's face, saw a genuine remorse. Okay, Daniel said quietly. Okay. Tom's relief was visible. He shook Daniel's hand, held it maybe a second, too long, then walked back to his car. Ryan had watched the whole thing. That's two. Two what? Two people asking forgiveness. Ryan smiled. There will be more. He was right. At 3 p.m., a BMW pulled up. Dr. James Patterson got out. Salt and pepper hair, expensive watch. The kind of man who looked like he'd never been uncomfortable in his life. Daniel knew him immediately. Dr. Patterson had been a regular customer, bought materials for weekend projects, always paid cash, always friendly, until the rumors started. Then he'd vanished, like smoke. The doctor walked straight to Daniel. His face was red, eyes swollen. Daniel, Dr. Patterson, I need to say something. The doctor's voice shook. I was your customer for 10 years. I trusted you, respected you. He paused. Then I heard the rumors about the theft, the insurance fraud, and He closed his eyes. I stopped coming. I didn't ask questions. I didn't investigate. I just believed what people said. When he opened his eyes, they were streaming. I'm a doctor, Daniel. I'm trained to never make a diagnosis without evidence, to test, to verify, to question. His voice rose with emotion. But with you, I believed gossip. I believed whispers in a coffee shop. He was crying openly now. I abandoned you based on nothing, and you lost everything. Daniel's chest tightened. Dr. Patterson, I need to do this. The doctor's hands were shaking. For 12 years, I've seen you around town, homeless, struggling, and I looked away. I crossed the street. I pretended not to see you. He dropped to his knees on the dirt. Daniel stepped back. What are you? I'm begging your forgiveness. Dr. Patterson's voice broke completely. I'm a healer. My job is to help people, and I watched you suffer because I was too cowardly to admit I was wrong. Several bikers had stopped working. We're watching the scene unfold. Daniel reached down, grabbed the doctor's arms. Stand up. Please stand up. I don't deserve. Stand up. Daniel's voice was firm but kind. He pulled the doctor to his feet. Dr. Patterson, you made a mistake. You believed what everyone else believed. That doesn't make you evil. It makes you human. But I should have known better. Maybe, but you know better now. Daniel looked him in the eye. And you came here? You faced me? That takes courage. Dr. Patterson pulled an envelope from his jacket. I made a donation, $5,000 for materials. It's not enough to. It's more than enough. Daniel took it. Thank you. Can I help? I'm not a carpenter, but I can carry things, hold ladders, whatever you need. The doctor's desperation was palpable. Please let me do something. Grab a broom, Daniel said. Help clean up the work site. Doctor, Patterson practically ran to find a broom. Ryan watched him go. That man's carrying 12 years of guilt. I know the feeling, Daniel said quietly. At 5 p.m., Helen Foster returned. This time, she brought someone with her, a thin man in his 60 seconds, leaning heavily on a cane. He looked frail, sick, maybe. Daniel, Mrs. Foster, called. This is Walter Pierce. He lives 2 blocks over. He needs to talk to you. Walter approached slowly. His hand shook on the cane. Mr. Carter, I don't know if you remember me. Daniel studied his face. Something familiar, but distant. I owned Pierce Lumber Supply back before. Walter trailed off. Before you had your troubles, recognition hit. You were one of my suppliers. I was. Walter's voice was thin, and when the rumors started, I was one of the first to drop you, demanded cash up front, made it impossible for you to operate. Daniel remembered the panic when his credit dried up, when loyal suppliers turned their backs. Walter was crying. Now, I helped destroy you. Me and men, like me, we didn't wait for evidence. We Just cut you off. He reached into his jacket, pulled out an old ledger, worn, water damaged. I found this last month. Going through old records. He opened it, showed Daniel a page. Your account. Hit no. You never missed a payment in 10 years. Not once. Always on time. Sometimes early. His finger traced the numbers. You were one of my best customers. Most honest man I ever dealt with. His voice broke, and I believed lies over a decade of truth. He closed the ledger. I've been sick. Cancer. Stage 3. Don't have much time left. He looked Daniel in the eye. I needed to tell you. Needed you to know that I was wrong. That I'm sorry. That you deserved better. Daniel took the ledger. His hands were shaking now, too. I forgive you, he said simply. Walter's relief was so profound, he nearly collapsed. Mrs. Foster caught him. Thank you, Walter whispered. Thank you. Mrs. Foster helped him back to her car. Before they left, she turned to Daniel one more time. There's something else you should know. She pulled out another photograph, older, grainy. That night, your tools were stolen. I saw something. Daniel's world stopped. I was walking my dog late. Couldn't sleep. I saw a truck in your parking lot. Young man, maybe early 22nds, loading boxes. Why didn't you? I thought it was you. Thought you were working late. Her voice was heavy with guilt. It wasn't until after the rumor started that I realized what I'd seen. But by then, I was scared. Scared of being wrong. Scared of getting involved. Scared of everything. She pressed the photo into his hand. I kept this as penance. It's from your grand opening. You and your father both so proud. Her eyes were fierce now. Your father built something good. You carried it forward, and this town betrayed that. She straightened her back. But we're done betraying you. I'm telling everyone, what really happened. That you were innocent. That we failed. You. Her voice rang out. You're back, Daniel Carter, and anyone who has a problem with it will deal with me. She marched off. Warrior grandmother on a mission. Daniel stood holding the photograph. His father smiled back at him. Young, alive, proud. We did it, Dad, Daniel whispered. We're coming back. The sun was setting now. The walls of the new Carter's hardware stood, complete. Tomorrow they'd add the roof. The day after the interior. But today, something else had been built. Forgiveness, understanding, community. One by one, people had come, had confessed, had asked for redemption, and Daniel had given it because he understood something they were only now learning. Holding on to anger only poisons the person carrying it. Ryan found him as the work crews were packing up for the night. How you feeling, brother? Daniel looked at the rising building, at the people who'd come to apologize, at the vest on his shoulders that said he belonged. I feel like I can breathe again. Good, Ryan smiled, because tomorrow we add the roof, and tomorrow night Big Dog wants you to say something to everyone. All 300 brothers. Say what? Whatever's in your heart. Daniel looked at the sunset, painting, the skeleton of his new store, golden, orange, 12 years of darkness, 4 days of light. I think I know what to say. Good, because Brother Ryan put his arm around Daniel's shoulders. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. They stood together as the sun went down on Morrison Street. And for the first time in 12 years, Daniel Carter went to sleep, not on cardboard, but in a hotel room Big Dog had paid for with a real bed, real pillows, real hope. Tomorrow they'd build more than walls. Tomorrow they'd finish what forgiveness started. Tomorrow Daniel Carter would speak his truth to 300 men who decided he was worth saving. And the world, still watching, still sharing, still believing, would listen. Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Daniel woke in the hotel room to sunlight streaming through clean windows. For a moment, he forgot where he was, reached for cardboard that wasn't there, felt for the cold concrete that had been his bed for 12 years. Instead, his hand found soft sheets, a real mattress. Warmth. He sat up, looked around. The room was small but clean. A Bible on the nightstand, a painting of the Oregon coast on the wall, the kind of normal he'd forgotten existed. His Hell's Angels vest hung on the back of a chair. His work boot sat by the door, caked in yesterday's mud and concrete dust. It was real. All of it was real. He showered for the first time in a week, The hot water felt like a luxury he didn't deserve but couldn't refuse. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. Still weathered, still worn, but his eyes looked different, less hollow, more alive. By 7 a.m., he was back on Morrison Street. The sight stole his breath. 50 bikers were already there, coffee in hand, tools ready. The building that had been just framing yesterday now had walls, real walls. Plywood sheathing covered the skeleton, transforming it from concept to structure. Big Dog stood near a makeshift table covered in blueprints, barking orders through a bullhorn. Roofing crew trusses. Go up first. I want that roof framed by noon, shingles by 6 p.m. He spotted Daniel, waved him over. Morning, brother. Sleep. Okay, better than I have in 12 years. Good, because today we work hard. Big Dog pointed at the roof, materials stacked nearby. Trusses are pre-cut. We just need to get them up and secured. You ever done roofing? Some, long time ago. Then you're on my crew. Let's go. The work was brutal, beautiful, exhausting. They hauled trusses up using a small crane someone had donated. Daniel worked alongside men, half his age, his muscles screaming, protest, but he didn't stop, couldn't stop. This was his dream being built, with borrowed hands and gifted materials. By 9 a.m., the first truss was in place. By 11 to 2, the roof was framed. Around noon, food trucks arrived. 3 of them this time. Barbecue, pizza, Thai food, all free, all for the workers. Words getting out. One of the owners explained as he served pulled pork sandwiches. What you boys are doing here, the whole city's watching. Least we can do is feed you. The crowd of onlookers had tripled. People lined the sidewalks with phones, out recording. News vans from 2 stations set up across the street. A reporter tried to interview Big Dog, but he waved her off. We're working. Come back when we're done. Daniel ate lunch, sitting on a stack of lumber sandwich in one hand, bottle of water in the other. His body hurt. His hands were blistered, despite the gloves, but he felt more alive than he had in years. Ryan sat beside him, equally exhausted. How's it feel, brother, watching your store come back to life? Daniel looked at the building. Walls, roof taking shape, windows waiting to be installed. Feels like I'm dreaming, and I'm terrified I'll wake up. You won't. Ryan bumped his shoulder. This is real. We're making sure of it. By 6 p.m., the roof was complete. Shingles laid, flashing, installed. The building was weather-tight. 300 men stood back and looked at what they'd built in 2 days. A complete structure. Walls, roof, windows, installed. Doors hung. It looked like a building now. A real building. Carter's hardware rising from the ashes. Someone started clapping. Then another. Then all. 300 erupted in cheers and engine revs. Daniel stood in front of it, tears running down his face. Big Dog's massive hand landed on his shoulder. Tomorrow we do interior, electrical, plumbing, shelving, paint. He squeezed. Tomorrow night you'll have a hardware store. I don't know how to thank you. You already did. 12 years ago when you stayed human, despite everything. 3 nights ago when you gave your last dollar. Big Dog turned Daniel to face him. You taught us something, brother. Reminded us what we're supposed to be. That's worth more than thanks. Monday morning, the final push. Daniel arrived at 500 a.m. Couldn't sleep. Too excited, too overwhelmed, too everything. The building looked different in the pre-dawn light. Solid, real, permanent. He walked inside for the first time. The space was raw. Concrete floor, bare, walls, but it had potential. He could see it. The counter going here, shelves there, the smell of sawdust, impossibility already hanging in the air. Beautiful, isn't it? He turned. Big Dog stood in the doorway, 2 cups of coffee in hand. He offered one to Daniel. Thank you. They stood in silence, drinking coffee, watching the sun rise through the new windows. My father built the original store, Daniel said quietly. 1975. I was just a kid. Watched him pour the foundation frame, the walls, hang the sign. He touched the bare wall. He died in 98. Left it to me. I thought I'd pass it to my son. You still can. He's in Ohio with his mother. Hasn't talked to me in 12 years. He will. Big Dog's voice was certain. This video is everywhere. 65 million views now. Your son's seen it. Trust me. Daniel wanted to believe that. Wanted it so badly his chest hurt. By 7 a.m., the electricians arrived. By 8, the plumbing crew. By 9, painters were rolling primer on the walls. The transformation was stunning. Daniel watched his empty shell become a real store in real time. Outlets installed, light fixtures hung, pipes run for bathrooms, and a utility sink. Shelving units assembled and mounted to walls. Around noon, a truck arrived with a wooden sign, hand-carved, beautiful, Carter's Hardware, honest work, fair, price, good neighbors. The same words his father had used, the same words Daniel had carried forward. Big Dog and Ryan helped mount it above the front door. When it was secure, the 300 workers stopped, looked. Someone started clapping. Within seconds, everyone joined. The applause rolled through the worksite like thunder. Daniel stood beneath the sign his father would have been proud of and cried. By 3:00 p.m., the interior was nearly complete. White walls with navy blue trim, the original colors. Wooden shelves stocked with donated inventory. A counter built from reclaimed wood. A vintage register someone had found and restored. It looked like a hardware store. Smelled like one. Felt like one. Dr. Patterson had worked all day cleaning, sweeping, organizing, doing whatever needed doing. Now, he approached Daniel with something, wrapped in brown paper. I found this at an estate sale 5 years ago. Been saving it. He unwrapped it. I don't know why, but when I saw your store coming back, I knew it was a framed photograph. The original Carter's Hardware. Daniel's father standing in front, grinning the day they opened. 1,975. Daniel took it with shaking hands. How did you, like I said, estate sale, recognize the store, bought it, thinking maybe someday I'd have the courage to return it? Dr. Patterson's eyes were wet. Guess today's that day. Daniel hung it behind the counter, right where customers would see it, his father watching over the new beginning. By 6 p.m., everything was done. Paint dry, floors swept, shelves stocked, lights working. A fully functional hardware store built in 3 days. Impossible but true. Big Dog raised his bullhorn one last time. Brothers, friends, everyone who helped make this happen. His voice boomed. We did it 3 days. One store. One man's life restored. The crowd erupted. But before we celebrate, this man needs to speak. Big Dog pointed at Daniel. Get up here, brother. Tell them what this means. Daniel's legs felt weak as he climbed onto the makeshift platform. 2 pallets and a plywood sheet. 300 faces looked up at him. Plus, the crowd of neighbors, the news, cameras, the world watching through phones. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Ryan stepped up beside him, squeezed his shoulder. Just talk, brother, like you're talking to me. Daniel closed his eyes, breathed, opened them. I don't know how to thank 300 people who gave everything to a stranger. His voice cracked but held. 3 days ago, I was nobody. A ghost sleeping behind a store, invisible. The crowd was silent, listening. Today, I'm standing in front of a building that shouldn't exist. Built by people who didn't have to care. Paid for by brothers I never knew. He touched his vest, wearing this. Belonging somewhere. He looked at Big Dog, at Ryan, at the 300 men who'd ridden from 7 states. You didn't just build me a store, you built me back. His voice broke. 12 years ago, this town destroyed me with lies. Took my business, my family, my identity, made me disappear. He gestured to the building behind him. You gave it all back, not because you had to, because you wanted to, because I helped one of yours, and you decided that mattered. Tears ran freely now. I spent $8 on groceries because someone should have done the same for me once. What you've given me today, he shook his head. This isn't charity. This is proof. Proof that kindness isn't dead, that brotherhood is real. That sometimes standing up when everyone else sits down changes everything. The crowd was crying now. Even the tough bikers, even Big Dog, wiped his eyes. I was homeless for 12 years. Today, I have a home. I was invisible. Today I'm seen. I was nothing. Today I'm family. His voice rose strong, now certain. I promise you, all of you, as long as I breathe, I'll pay this forward. Every person who walks through that door will be seen, will be valued, will be treated like family. He pointed at the sign. Good neighbors. That's what we are now, all of us. He looked directly at the cameras, at the millions watching online. To everyone who believed lies about me 12 years ago, I forgive you. To everyone who walked past when I needed help, I understand. To everyone who's judging someone right now based on appearance, please stop. Please look deeper. Please see the person. His voice dropped to barely above a whisper, but the silence was so complete, everyone heard. $8 changed my life. Not because of the money, because of what it represented. Standing up, seeing someone, being human when it's easier not to be. He raised his fist. That's what we did here. 3 days, 300 brothers, one mission. Be human, be family, be better. The cheer that erupted could be heard 10 blocks away. Engines roared. People screamed. Cameras flashed. Big Dog lifted Daniel off the platform in a bear hug that probably cracked ribs. Ryan piled on, then Jake, then 50 others. A mountain of leather and brotherhood crushing Daniel in the best possible way. When they finally released him, Big Dog pulled out the vest. The one with the man who stood on the back. This goes in our clubhouse. But first, he handed Daniel a marker. Sign it so everyone knows who taught us what brotherhood really means. Daniel signed with shaking hands. His signature looked small and inadequate next to the message. It's perfect, Big Dog said. Just like you, brother. The celebration lasted hours. Music, food, 300 bikers, and 500 community members mixing like they'd been family forever. The news crews got their interviews. The photos went viral immediately, but the most powerful moment came at 8 p.m. A car pulled up. Ohio plates. A woman got out, mid-50 seconds, still beautiful despite the gray in her hair. Jennifer, Daniel's ex-wife. Behind her, a young man unfolded from the passenger seat, tall, athletic, wearing an Ohio State hoodie. Michael, their son, Daniel's world, stopped. Jennifer walked slowly toward him. Michael followed, hands in his pockets, nervous. Ryan saw them, touched Daniel's arm. Brother, your family's here. Daniel turned, saw them. His legs nearly gave out. Jennifer stopped 5 tons away. Her eyes were red from crying. Hello, Daniel. Jen. What are you doing here? Michael wanted to see his father. We both did. Her voice shook. We saw the video. Everyone saw the video. She looked at the store and then we watched. You build this. Watched the world come together for you. Watched you give a speech about forgiveness and being human. She stepped closer, touched the vest he wore. I left you 12 years ago because I was scared. Scared of watching you disappear. Scared of losing everything. Tears rolled down her cheeks. But you never disappeared, did you? You stayed human, stayed good, even when the world treated you like garbage. Michael stepped forward. He was 22 now, a man, but his eyes were the same as when he was 10. Dad, that one word broke Daniel. He reached for his son. Michael met him halfway. They hugged, the first time in 12 years, and both broke down. I'm sorry, Michael said. I'm so sorry. I didn't stay. Didn't call. Didn't you? Were a kid. You had to go with your mom. I never blamed you. I blamed me. Michael pulled back. I saw what happened. Saw people turn on you. I was 10, and I didn't understand. Then, as I got older, I was ashamed. Ashamed I'd left you. Ashamed I'd believed the lies. He wiped his eyes. Then I saw that video. Saw you give your last $8 to a stranger. Saw you stand up when everyone else wanted to. Tear that man down. His voice cracked, and I realized my dad's a hero. Always was. I just couldn't see it. Daniel cupped his son's face. You're here now. That's all that matters. Jennifer stepped into the embrace. Made it 3. A family broken for 12 years, holding each other together again. Ryan watched from a distance, tears streaming. Big Dog stood beside him. That's what we built, Big Dog said quietly. Not just a store. We built that right there. Family. Coming home. The three of them stood in front of Carter's Hardware, the sign lit, now glowing in the darkness, and talked. 12 years of silence broken in one night. I graduate in May, Michael said. Business degree. I was going to work in Columbus, but he looked at the store. If you'll teach me, I want to learn how to run this place. Daniel couldn't speak, just nodded, crying too hard for words. Jennifer touched his face. I'm not asking to come back. Not after 12 years, but I want to be here, want to help, want to, she smiled through tears, want to see what you build, who you become. Because Daniel, you're stronger now than you were then. I'm broken. No, she shook her head firmly. You're healed. There's a difference. Broken things fall apart. Healed things grow stronger at the cracks. Around them, the celebration continued. But in that small bubble, father, mother, son, the real miracle was happening. A family finding its way back to each other, not because of money or success or anything material, because one man gave $8 and showed the world what humanity looked like. 3 months later, Carter's Hardware was thriving. A line of customers every morning. Daniel behind the counter, Michael working the floor, Jennifer managing the books from Ohio via video calls. The corner in Thompson's Mart had shelves of Daniel's supplies. Tom Bradley promoted them constantly. Shop local, shop Carter's. Emily Rodriguez visited every week, still working at the store, but also taking classes, social work degree, progressing, because you showed me what helping actually looks like. Dr. Patterson volunteered every Saturday, sweeping, stocking, talking to customers. Penance, he called it, paying forward what I stole by staying silent. Mrs. Foster organized a community garden in the empty lot next door. Good neighbors take care of each other. You taught us that. And every Saturday at noon, Ryan pulled up on his Harley. Lily on a child seat behind him, now 3 years old. In calling Daniel Uncle Dan, they'd have coffee, talk, work on small projects together. Two men the world had tried to throw away, now building something beautiful. The video that started it all, 100 million views and climbing. Comments in every language, stories of people helping strangers, of bikers being defended, of communities coming together, all because of $8, all because one man decided standing up mattered more than staying invisible. Daniel stood in his store on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, sun streaming through the windows, and thought about the path that led him here. 25 years of building, 12 years of losing, 4 days of restoration, 3 months of living again. On the wall behind the counter hung 3 photographs, one his father in front of the original store. 1,975 to Daniel giving $8 in Thompson's Mart, the viral moment. 300 bikers standing in front of the new Carter's Hardware. Family photo. Daniel in the center wearing his honorary brother vest. Beneath them a small plaque. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest changes. Sometimes standing up for a stranger means standing up for yourself. And sometimes $8 is all it takes to buy back everything you thought was lost forever. Daniel Carter, the door chimed. A customer walked in. Young guy, nervous, dressed in worn clothes. Can I help you? Daniel asked. I need some screws, but I only have $3. Is that enough for? It's enough. Daniel smiled, grabbed a box of screws, handed them over. Consider it a gift. But someone gave me a gift once, when I had nothing. Changed my life. Daniel rang up the sale, marked it paid. Now I'm passing it forward. That's how this works. The young man's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. No, thank you for coming in, for trusting me, for being seen. As the customer left, Daniel noticed the Hells Angels vest hanging on a hook by the register. His vest, his proof that he belonged. He touched the patch that read, Family Forever, and he smiled because 12 years of darkness had taught him something the light never could. That honor isn't what you have. It's who you are when you've lost everything. And family isn't blood. It's who stands with you when everyone else walks away. Outside, the sign glowed in the afternoon sun. Carter's Hardware, honest work, fair price, good neighbors. The same promise his father made 50 years ago. The same promise Daniel broke when the world crushed him. The same promise 300 brothers helped him keep, and somewhere $8 richer in spirit, if not in wallet. Daniel Carter finally understood what his father had been trying to teach him all along. It's not about the hardware you sell. It's about the lives you touch and the family you build. One $8 act of kindness at a time. Join us to share meaningful stories by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to start your day with profound lessons and heartfelt empathy.